Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the luckiest t-shirt. If you're new to listening to the podcast, I don't speak like this the whole time. But I can if you want. But I'm not going to today. So welcome to the luckiest t-shirt. This is episode 41. I'm not going to count every single one of them, but I do remember that my last one was 40. And so today is 41. There's tons of stuff to talk about today. I decided to take a short vacation. I took 4 days. I went to Halifax with my wife for a couple days just to kind of max and relax, which meant no computer, which meant no luckiest t-shirt. And I went to see An Evening with Kevin Smith. And fuck, was that awesome. We watched a screening of his movie Tusk, which is very fucked up, but it's the first in the Great White North trilogy. So up next is Yoga Hosers. Then it's Moose Jaws, like Jaws, but with a moose, apparently. If you don't give a shit about Kevin Smith, that's fine too. That's not what this podcast is about. But if there was a Venn diagram of people who love Kevin Smith and people who love Magic the Gathering, where they intersect, that's me, the luckiest t-shirt. So I got to ask him a question, which was pretty cool. I asked him... I told him that I was a podcaster. He helped inspire me. If you haven't heard any of his podcasts, check them out. They're super funny. My favorite is Hollywood Babylon. Him and Ralph Garman. They do this live show where they kind of make fun of celebrities and they look at shit that's happened in the past week. It's a really funny show. So he helped inspire me start this podcast and YouTube channel. And so I asked him when someone... when you're telling what you're doing, like I ask people, what do you think of this? And, they say, hey, that's a great idea, but they start to try and twist it into something that you're not doing. A prime example of this, I was telling someone I work with about the show, and they said, well, you should make it for a wider audience. That's too niche. Just Magic players is too niche. You should just make it about games in general. I'm like, well, I don't know enough about games in general. I don't play a whole lot of video games. I want this focused on Magic. I don't even want it focused on strategic Magic. I want something for fun, right? Because we play this game for fun. And, everything I told him about the podcast, he kept making suggestions, and I appreciate suggestions, but it was almost like he was saying, you're doing it wrong, right? And I'm like, well, it's my hobby for now. Maybe one day it becomes a source of income. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm ranting. But bottom line, so my question was, how do you ask people this? Or how do you take their suggestion and without telling them to fuck off, say, I appreciate your suggestion, thank you, without sounding like a pandering asshole. And he said, look, you just got to put it on Front Street. You got to put it right out there. Front Street's his phrase, not mine, but he's a cool guy. He said, you just got to put it out there. When he was doing Clerks, he was going into debt. He was borrowing a lot of money for it. And, his parents, like his mom and his friends even were like, look, man, you're going, like, this is getting pretty scary now. And he was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm doing this. I want to make movies. So he made movies. I want to make podcasts. So damn what anybody else says. And I'm not saying there's a whole bunch of people out there saying you shouldn't fucking do that. But there are a couple people who said, you're never that's never going to succeed. You're never going to make any money at it. And the fact that you're listening to this or watching this right now is proof that they were wrong, that I'm doing the right thing. So I thank you. Whenever I say I thank you for listening, that is why. Because you're proving Kevin Smith right. And you're proving that there is someone out there who wants to listen to this bullshit. And whether it's bullshit or not, to me and to you, we know it's not. We know that we love this game, and anytime we get to talk about it or listen to stuff about it or consume something about it, we will. So thank you for listening. Like I said, tons of shit to talk about today. We picked up a few listeners in Halifax, so shout out to those people who were at the Kevin Smith show. So, hey guys. I'll remember you. That's awesome. So I go on vacation, and while I'm there, I'm seeing on fucking Facebook and well, mostly Facebook, but online, that the rules committee just decided all of a fucking sudden to change the rules. To change the rules of the game that they originally designed. And I know rule changes and tweaks and stuff have to happen. So now there's this new, they're calling it the Tuck rule. And so what that means is when a quarterback has the football and he started making his forward pass, it can't be considered, no, I'm just kidding. But that was the Tuck rule. So I'm not calling it the Tuck rule. This is now the Tom Brady rule because that's what it is. If you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, it's not that important. So the Tuck rule is basically changing it so that if your commander was on the battlefield and, okay, this is what the rule used to be. If the commander would go to exile or your graveyard, you may choose to put it in your command zone instead. Excuse me, I just had Wendy's. Ugh. Okay. You may choose to put it in your command zone instead. Now they're expanding that rule to include if it were to go into your library or into your hand. You may choose to put it in the graveyard instead, or in the command zone instead. So what does this mean? This means that Terminus no longer hits commanders, no longer tucks them away. Spell Crumple, a spell specifically printed in a commander set, no longer applies. You know, you can counter it. It will definitely counter it, and it will send it back to the command zone. And they have to pay the 2 extra mana to cast it again. But it doesn't solve the problem right away. Now we must remember before we freak out, which I'm sure a lot of freaking out has probably happened already because this is a couple days old now. So I feel like I'm just catching up. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. So we have to remember that everything else is still going to the bottom of the library. If I top deck Terminus and for 1 white mana, everything's going to the bottom of the library except the commanders, that's potentially still good. And I'm not taking Terminus out of my deck just because of this new rule, right? People aren't going to take Chaos Warp out of their deck just because, oh shit, if I hit a commander, it doesn't go into the library anymore. There's still shit you want to get off the battlefield that might be better served in their library or at the bottom of it specifically, or even on top of it with, cards like, fuck. I'll put it up here once I remember what it is. So it's appearing right here, right now. But all attacking creatures get put on top of its owner's library. So those are still very relevant, right? But now it's just with commanders, it just goes back to the command zone. So, I mean, this is good for me, potentially. A fair player, relatively fair. I mean, I have done some dirty shit in the past, but generally I try and keep my decks on the fun side as opposed to the Deadeye Navigator Palancron side of things. So this is potentially good for me because this means that I'm no longer the collateral damage on a Terminus. I could still get my commander in and out of the command zone rather than having to dig it out of my deck because I don't run as many tutors as some people. So I'm not going to be going and getting it right away, right? So for me, potentially that's a benefit. And I haven't played a game with the new rule yet. It really only comes up in corner cases. And I know there's petitions out there saying, well, you should Wizards should now take control of caretaking the format because the RC, the rules committee that is dropping the ball. They're taking too many liberties. They're not banning things when they should be, which is not a fair assessment, but it's a reasonable assessment, right? I honestly think that there are certain cards that shouldn't be in the format anymore because they get abused. They're not cast in the spirit of fun. They're cast in the spirit of fuck you, I'm winning the game right now, and I don't care if it's fun, right? So yeah, there's that. This new Tuck rule. And, I mean, I'm going to have to play with it a few times. I don't know if my play group has taken it on yet. They're starting up a game in 15 minutes, and I'm here doing this. So, opportunity missed. Don't give a shit. I want to talk to you guys about this. So tell me what you think. I know there's lots of forums that have talked about it. Some people are just fucking batshit crazy about it. They're like, oh my God, the world is ending. I can't tuck anybody's commanders anymore. And for those problem commanders, those ones that really the only answer is to get them in the deck so they can't cast it again, those ones are still going to be a problem. And they said, well, the rules committee said, well, we'll look at those. Should this shine a light on anything in particular, not being able to tuck them anymore? Should this bring certain legendary creatures to the forefront and just they completely dominate because there's no answer for them other than sending them to the command zone, and that isn't necessarily a good answer, then they will look at banning those in the future. When they got rid of the restricted rule where a card could be used as one of your 99 but couldn't be used as your commander, I didn't necessarily agree with that, and I didn't necessarily agree with the ones that were on the list, but that's only because that had been a fairly old rule. But when they said, okay, now these ones are just banned and this one is completely unbanned, they took a lot of consideration, but it took a year for them to finally get all their testing done. So me personally, I do think the rules committee is a little bit not out of touch, but they're very into their own metagame in their own shops in the couple places that they play, and I don't think that's a good representation of players playing the format as a whole. And it's a very difficult thing to try and get the opinions of all these kitchen tables, but there are lots of shops that run EDH nights now. And, they have a lot of players. They have players that come and compete, right? Whether it be casually or competitively, they have players who show up and play. And the only surefire way to do it is to run the set of rules that the rules committee provides, because then there's consistency. Anybody who's never been to that LGS before doesn't need to know the house rules because they can just show up with the deck that they built at home using the guidelines that they saw online based on the rules committee and go from there, right? And then they show up, they're ready to play. There's no fucking having to adjust their decks or, oh shit, I didn't know that was a house ban here, all that shit. So what was my point? My point is we need a good representation from multiple opinions, and I'm sure the RC does take other people's opinions into consideration, but I don't think that it's an equally represented form. Each play group is going to have their individual issues, and that sucks. And the issues that I have, with cards like Tooth and Nail, and the whole Wanderer deck. And other decks. There are other decks. I pick on the Wanderer. Wanderer is like a poster child for an oppressive deck. A deck that can control the game until it decides to win. Right? If we all played the Wanderer, it would be a much different game. But that could be just where I am. Right? There are other commanders that are problems. And you got, like I mentioned the last episode, there's the Rug commanders. There's Riku. There's we all know Zur is a problem usually whenever someone decides to sleeve him up. So I don't know. I'm not saying I got the answers, but there's got to be something. There's got to be some way that we can take a bit more of the larger community into some of these decisions, right? What about democracy? Right now, we're under the RC dictatorship, and I think that's good. That was very good to start the format, to the birth of it. It's like, well, these are our rules. If you want to play this game, these are the rules that we play by. But I think the community is big enough now that there are enough versions of each corner case that we can democratically make some of these decisions. We have the technology. It's just as easy as taking polls. We can do it. we can do it. And it's on them to have the expertise to ask the right questions. That's it. That's my suggestion. What else do I want to talk about? Unfortunately, Dragons of Tarkir is available, and I have yet to play a game of it. It's a week old, and I live on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that requires boats to bring magic cards from the mainland to the island. And when there's a whole bunch of ice in the way, my cards get stuck on the boat. So I have yet to play a pre-release, and I haven't opened a pack yet. Oh! Chomping at the bit here, so I wanted to get through the Tuck Rule thing. Why? So that I can get to the fat pack that I just bought today. I'm not going to open them all on here because that would take a long time, but I've got a short experiment that leads me into the next topic today, which is the economy or value of Magic the Gathering cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open 3 packs of Dragons of Tarkir, my first 3 packs ever. And we're going to have a look at the rare. I'm going to track those. And over the next few weeks, and maybe even few months, every couple months, maybe I'll check in on it. We'll look at those 3 rares. I might even upgrade it to all 9, but I'm not going to open all 9 on camera, on mic, because that might be a little boring. So we're going to look at these 3 rares, and we're going to see where the prices of them rest, let's say a year from now. And the reason I want to do this is when you look at certain cards, if you guys played during Avacyn Restored, during the Innistrad block, and Thragtusk was a very popular card back then. Well, the old 5 mana, 5/3, that when he entered the battlefield, you gain 5 life, and when he left the battlefield, not died, but left the battlefield, you got a 3/3 beast. In a format where there was an angel, restoration angel, that came on the battlefield, and you can exile and return to the battlefield one other non-angel creature you control. So, as you might guess, these 2 were friends. Thragtusk was in the core set. So Restoration Angel came down. You had already gained 5 life from playing your Thragtusk. Now you exile him, get a 3/3. He comes back. You gain another 5 life. Then you play another Resto Angel and do it again. So now you got 2 3/3s and a Thragtusk. What is he worth now? Fuck all. Maybe a couple bucks. What was he worth then? Like 13, 14 bucks. If you get a foil, you can make 25 bucks. So it rotated out of standard, and the ass just fell out of the price, right? So all we got to do is find those cards that are really good in standard, try and get a few copies of them, and sell them before they start fucking tanking, right? So I'm not an official speculator, but right now, Courser of Krufix is a good card in standard. It's played in many, many decks. It has a really healthy price right now. So if you've got a bunch, and you know people who are playing green strategies in standard right now, maybe now could start to be the time to slough them off. You might still need them to play, but if you've got extras, maybe you start getting rid of them. Because I predict when it rotates out of standard, you're not going to be seeing the 2/4 for 3 anymore, who lets you play land from the top of your library. You're not going to see him anymore because he's not really in many other formats. He might show up in a deck here or there, but you have Oracle of Moldiah. Similar effect, but you get an extra land drop. It costs 1 more mana. In fact, it's green and 3, and it's probably showing up on my screen here. But Aether Spouts was the card I was trying to think of before. But Oracle of Moldiah does a very similar thing to Courser of Krufix, and they're probably both in Legacy and in older formats, EDH, they're probably both around the same price, but I have a feeling the ass is going to drop out of the Courser. So this experiment, we'll look at 3 cards, just the random 3 cards that I open, hopefully, and maybe 9 cards if I track the whole fat pack. And we'll look at the prices of those over time and see how they go up, how they go down. To start with, opening prices are set on speculation. And that speculation is based on, the demand is based on the speculation, right? If someone thinks Narset is going to be awesome, the new Narset Planeswalker, well, she's $50 to start off with. Nobody's played a fucking game with her, and she's $50. The Planeswalkers are usually between $30 and $50 to start with, maybe $25. Tybalt, like you owe me $5 and I'll take your Tybalt. But yeah, there's this weird speculatory to start out with because nobody knows what's going to be good. Honestly, there are sleepers. You want to try and find those sleepers, pick up a bunch of them for $0.25, and then they jump up to $5 each, slough them off. You just made yourself like $18. So if your purpose is to try and make money, those are the kinds of things you track. If your purpose is just to get value, well, you just have to know when to trade stuff. And I'm terrible at it, so I want to kind of get a better idea. Anyway, we're going to move on. I'm going to open these packs, and we're going to have a look at them. So the first thing I do is break off my new clear translucent blue die, which is pretty sweet. I think that's the Ojutai one. So if you've never opened a fat pack, there's a few things that come in it. It comes with 9 booster packs. It comes with a pack of lands, a rules reference card, just in case you've never played a game and decided to play a game of Magic all of a sudden. And say, hey, I want to play a game of Magic, so I'll drop $40 on whatever I think this is. Another important piece is you get a book. I haven't got it with me right now, but the book has a list of every card in the set. You also get a banner, which is actually the outer casing of the fat pack. So I've got one displayed right here from this one. For you podcast listeners, it's pretty cool, I guess. It's a big dragon breathing lightning onto a bunch of dudes. And then you get one of these boxes. And we're going to talk about these boxes in just a second. For those of you listening, if you've never seen a fat pack box, I'm going to go through my frustration. So I'm going to start with my first ever booster pack of Dragons of Tarkir Magic the Gathering playing cards. Collectible things. Okay. Crinkle, crinkle. Crinkle, crinkle, thud. All right. So, to start with, we got Mind Rot. We got an Anticipate in the pack. I'm not going to go through all of them, just kind of skimming. We'll deal with the commons and uncommons later. Okay. So, my first pack, my first rare from Khans of Tarkir is Myth Realized. This is an enchantment for 1 white mana that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a lore counter on Myth Realized. You can pay 2 and a white to put a lore counter on Myth Realized. So there's 2 ways to get them on there. And then its last ability, you can pay 1 white until end of turn. Myth Realized becomes a monk avatar creature in addition to its other types. And gains, this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lore counters on it. So you play it for 1. Now all your non-creature spells, put another 1 on it. If you have nothing to do with your mana, you can add more to it. And then you pay 1 white to activate it. It becomes a creature that is hopefully pretty big and gets bigger as the game goes on, providing you're casting non-creature spells. So I'm pretty happy to get that one, and I'm really interested to track this one because this one's got a little bit of hype on it, but not a whole bunch. It's either going to be awesome and people are going to use the shit out of it, or it's going to do nothing. So that'll be an interesting one to track. So I'm put that in that little pile there. Myth Realized, first Dragon's rare. Let's move on. Pack 2. Crinkle, crinkle. And Myth Realized could be a sweet EDH card. Really could be. All right. Just going to go right to the rare because I don't want to spend too much time. We got a Boltwing Marauder. Now, my prediction is this guy's not going to do, I don't know, maybe. So he's a 3 black and a red for a dragon who's 5/4. He has flying. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Now, if it said each creature, this thing would be more constructed playable. But that only one creature gets the boost could hold down. I have a feeling this one's going to stay in the 50-cent range. That's just my hunch. It doesn't feel like anything worth taking huge advantage of for 5 mana. I don't know. I think kind of a dud. Number 2, bit of a dud. But time will tell. We'll see if this guy makes a splash at all in our little price tracking experiment thing here. All right. Pack number 3. So as I open this up, first card I see is Dragon Fodder. I don't know whose father it is, but it's Dragon Fodder. And I'm going to slowly go to the rare. I like to take my time on this. All right. So we got a good one here. We got Dragon Lord Ojutai. So my first mythic from Dragons of Tarkir is a legendary creature, an elder dragon for 3, a white and a blue. He has flying. He has hexproof as long as he's untapped, which is a little weird. He's a 5/4 flyer, that is. And whenever Dragon Lord Ojutai deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So you get 1 card out of the top 3 every time he deals combat damage to a player. That could be really good. This guy just might be a new commander. I'm thinking about building an all flyers deck, and this guy would fit right in with that. Seeing as he flies and he draws you cards and gives you a bit of card selection. So that's pretty cool. So I'm pretty happy about that. I think this one's going to be a pretty sweet one to track because who knows? You know, maybe that kind of card selection is going to be good. Maybe blue-white ends up being this awesome force in, you know, small deck constructed formats. Who knows? But it'll be fun to track. So like I said, I think I'm going to do it. Once I'm done opening all 9 of these, I'll post which 9 I opened on the Luckiest T-Shirt Facebook group, which is getting up there. We are still a few members away from 100. So if you got friends at 100, I'm doing a giveaway. In that giveaway is going to be some sweet fucking stuff. I got a big old case that's going to be full of, you know, Magic gear, tournament gear, all kinds of cool stuff. Might be some cards in there. Might be some cards that you've seen me open. Might be some of these cards. Who knows? These are all crap, but you might get them anyway. It's better than getting nothing, right? And it's free, so just join, right? Tell your friends to join. Sign people up. Otherwise, just keep listening or put it on in the background and leave the house. You could do that too. Don't care. Right. So I will do that later. I will post those results, and we will start tracking the prices of what I got in this fat pack over time. My guess is, with 9 boosters, that's a guarantee of 9 rare or mythic rare cards, that I will roughly have $4.50 total value in 5 years. They're probably all going to be jank rares because that's the kind of luck I have. We're going to find out. So, like I said, I was going to be talking about these fat pack boxes, and the reason I wanted to talk about them is because they fucking suck. The reason they suck is the first thing, when you open your fat pack box, you get a bunch of extra cardboard that you don't need. And I want you to know, I want to give you guys this tip right away. Open your fat pack, look inside the lid. So the piece with the logo on it and all the fun pictures, and look inside the lid. You'll see this piece of cardboard that's wedged all the way in the top inside this thing. And what you're going to want to do is pull that fucking thing out, because this thing has ruined at least 2 cards that I have because I wasn't paying attention. And I put my Fat Pack lid onto the cards that were in the box as my storage, and it bent 2 of them. Luckily, only one of them was a rare, and that rare was a piece of shit, so I didn't care that much. But man, I would have been pissed if that were like my commander. So I've seen people use these boxes to store, up I think 3 commander decks can fit in them. So you want to either use a top loader, a hard plastic top loader on either end to make sure that the lid doesn't squish your cards. So take that piece of fucking cardboard out, throw it away. There are more cardboard in there. Throw all that away. There's so much garbage you get with a Fat Pack. And I'm not a huge environmentalist. I play a game that requires a whole bunch of cardboard and ink. And I keep buying more of it. So me saying that I'm a crusader for the environment, well, that's just total bullshit because of the game I play. I can't honestly say that I care about the environment. I do. I would prefer that the trees that were cut down to make these cards were replaced. But I would be such a hypocrite if I were like, oh, I'm an environmentalist. I'm fucking, I give a shit about this. But anyway, so that piece inside the lid, take that, throw it away, because it does have the potential to bend the fuck out of some cards. The next thing I want to talk about is when you do put the lid back on, and you've got some cards in it, so I'll just load this one up with some cards. You'll notice something, that when you put the lid on and you press it all the way in, the cards, the bottom of the box goes past the bottom of the lid. So now you have, it's indented into it because the top of the cards is shorter than the total height of the lid. Now, this could be because of the book. Like the book might be that tall, that wide. Then redesign the book, right? And the reason, you guys are probably thinking, this isn't something I give a shit about. And maybe it's not. But the packaging on these things is fucked up. It has very little fucking good use. They're awkward. They suck as storage. And I buy at least one of these every set because I want the book. I can't buy the book separately. I might be able to. Some LGSs might sell them separately. But I want the cards that are in it. I want my starter for my collection for the new set. So I want the 9 packs. And I might as well get the 9 packs that come with the book and the sweet fucking 20-sided dice. But please, just give me a better fucking box than this. This thing sucks. Now I can't even get the goddamn cards that I put in there out. I've got to wait until the air suction, I got to poke a hole in the top or something, because it won't come out. And I can't reach it. I can't get my fingers in there. It's just a horribly designed set of packaging. It looks really nice, but practicality, you can't fucking store anything in there. And you can, but then you're never going to want to open it again. I use 5 of them for my land stations, right? So I got the various colors of them. So, okay, well, the Innistrad one's got some red on it, so that's my mountains. The Return to Ravnica, that's my blue. Avacyn Restored, that's my plains, right? But I only keep land in there because I never want to fucking constantly be going in and out of it. And I've got enough land in throughout decks just lying around that I rarely have to use it because they're in these fucking boxes. Now, my recommendation, and I don't know how much more this would cost the company. I don't know if these are just super cost effective. But if you've ever seen a deck builder's toolkit, which comes with a couple boosters and a whole bunch of commons and uncommons from a core set, if they could switch to using these boxes from the deck builder's toolkit, because it's got a flip-top lid that when you close it, as you can see, when you close it, and listeners, you may have seen these before, it it has the extra flap that folds over and latches in. It's just a better design. And it's a little bit wider, too, so you can actually fit a deck box in it. These are great. Right? Why don't they use these for the fat packs instead of these fucking things? They're just about the same size. They're the right height for cards. They are definitely more secure. If I drop a fat pack in a puddle, I mean, I'm not saying you want to, but shit happens. It happened to my sister-in-law, actually. She was getting out of the car and it fucking fell. It fell right in a puddle. A bunch of her cards were pretty fucked. But this thing, it's got enough, tightness to it and redundancy in layers and shit. I keep hitting the mic, sorry. That, I'm not going to feel comfortable dropping it in a puddle, but I have a feeling I'll be able to grab it without pulling the fucking lid off, get it out of there without dropping my cards everywhere, because I can hold it from the top and it doesn't fall out. And this thing, once it gets worn in, that still hasn't come down. I've just had it sitting off to the side, and it still hasn't come down. I'm never getting those cards back ever again. Son of a bitch. But yeah, it's just a much better design. So Wizards, please just start using the Deck Builders toolkit boxes. I think the toolkit costs $24.99. And start using those for the fat packs, which cost $40. Okay, packaging rant almost over. One last thing I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to say it. For fuck's sakes, enough with the advertising cards. Make them all a token. What am I going to do with this? I immediately throw it in the garbage because it's useless. I've already bought your product. I like your product. I'm loyal to your product. Stop advertising to me once I open your product, because I don't fucking need to see it. You know what's more effective? Give me a token that I will bring to a tournament, and maybe I lay face down because I don't want people to know what tokens I'm using because it gives away what deck I'm playing, and they see the goddamn advertisement on the back. It's just, I throw them in the garbage. Who doesn't? I recycle them. I put them in my fucking shredder. It's the only Magic card that I feel comfortable shredding because I don't need it. Nobody needs it. Just make one-sided token and put your advertisement on the other side instead of giving me a two-sided advertisement. I don't get it. Like, it says the modern format blends the best of the game's past and present into an exciting, diverse world of deck possibilities. Discover some of the format's most popular cards in the Modern Masters set. You know where I got this? A pack of Modern Masters. I already bought it. I clearly know it's a good set. Learn more at wizards.com/magicformats. Is a seagull going to find this in the dump and be like, let's play some Magic? Or what? I don't get it. Why? Just give me a token. I like the tokens. The token art is fucking deadly. I got this fucking in the pack I just opened from Dragons. I got Magic 2015. What do I need that for? What good is this? It's got a picture of Garruk from Magic 2015. A set almost a year old. Why do I need this? I don't get it. Stop. Just stop. Just give me a token. I mean, they're collectible, right? People trade them. People sell them. The emblems are worth fucking money. You get $5 for a goddamn Planeswalker emblem. So why not just give me a better shot at getting me one of those instead of just this thing? Or just leave it out. Fuck it. Leave it out. One in 4 packs will have no token, just no fucking card. Just stop giving me these. Because they just go in the garbage. You know where I'm going to put mine right now? In the garbage. It's in the garbage. What am I going to do with it? If I want to buy paper, I will go buy paper. But I buy your paper with pretty pictures and numbers and words on them because I like playing your goddamn game. And clearly I like complaining about it. So why not just give me more pictures? I already bought it. Stop advertising to me. Did I say that already? Now, onto something a little bit more enjoyable, the end of the show. So please tell your friends, get them into the Luckiest T-Shirt Facebook group. I want to do this giveaway. I need to do this giveaway. It's burning a hole in the corner of the room over there. I want to do it so bad. All you got to do is get a few more people signed up. They don't even have to sign up. They just click. If you have friends that aren't on Facebook, tell them that there's this amazing thing that they can go on to see cat videos and dog videos and videos of people puking and read BuzzFeed articles about the top 9 spiders that bit you in the balls. Guaranteed, if that doesn't sell them, nothing will. And truly, I don't want them in the group. However, if you have friends that are on Facebook, all you got to do is say, hey, join this, and they're going to do a draw. If you win, I'll take the prize, even if you don't use it. What's the advantage of me having you? What's my advantage for you being in the group? I know you're with me. I know you're listening. I can let you know when new episodes are up. You'll know a little bit faster. I'm not sure how fast iTunes is at getting them up. I know it's pretty quick, but if I'm telling you to listen to it, then obviously it came right from the source. You know what I'm saying? Right from the source. So the Tuck Rule. What do you guys think of it? Go to the group. Bring a friend, and let's talk about it. Magic Economy. When you open a card, it's a brand new card from a brand new set, and you're looking at it, and it's got the little red symbol on it. How do you feel? Is that good? Does having it just being mythic, because there are 50-cent mythics out there, or when you pull that chase rare, that rare that everybody wants. Right now it's Narset, the Enlightened, or the Transcendent. I think that's what it's called. Narset, the Planeswalker. If you pull that, how do you feel? And how are you going to feel 6 months from now? And how are you going to feel a year from now? What if Narset is the new Tybalt? What if she sucks? She looks so good, even though Tybalt never looked good. What if she's so good on paper, and then you put her in a deck, and you play her, and you're pretty sure you designed the deck around her, and she just sucks? You play her, she dies. You play her, she dies. You play her, she dies. You end up wasting your turn 4 or 5 or 6, and you never get anything out of her. Are you still going to feel as good as when you opened it? So the other thing you can do is you can head to patreon.com/theluckiestt-shirt. The websites have both been sitting up there on the YouTubes. If you want to help out, I'm so close. I'm so close to meeting my goal of just covering my costs for this podcast. And that's all I want to do. I'm not looking to get rich. I mean, it would be sweet if I did, just like you. And I know you guys want to pinch those pennies to save up for the next Magic set. But, if I've provided you some amount of entertainment, I hope that's worth something. And I'm glad to freely share it with you. So if you want to support that and you think what I'm doing is justified and right, if you agree with Kevin Smith that you should just go create, the people who like you, the people who want to hear what you have to say will find you, then you can certainly give back on there. But until next time, I don't know, I'm a little out of breath this time. 44 minutes. I did a big one this time. Anyway, thanks for listening and opening your Dragons of Tarkir packs. I want you to have fun with it.